So this is a great opportunity today because this is I've been looking forward to this for a while because for two reasons. I've known Josh for a while. We have Josh Farley with us. It's our first production of the year, 2025. And you're a perfect fit for this, Josh, for the simple reason that I've watched you for a little bit in your career and you've talked to me a little bit about your career and the trajectory of your career. So I know kind of, I'm going to let you elaborate, but I know kind of how you started. Mm-hmm. And I've watched you diligently grind and make adjustments over time to get to where you are today. I mean, as recently as this past week, I noticed you hired 2 people to add to your team. So I know it started with just you, and then you and Ian Dixon, great guy. And then you've kind of, made some moves in addition to that, some mentorship that led you in different directions. I want to get into all that because in my estimation, January 2025, there are a lot of people that want to hear, how do I scale, right? And you scaled in a tough market. 2024 was not an easy market. But before we get to that, I have to ask you one question. Since you are our leadoff batter, what's your walk-up song?
Walk-up song right now is The Biggest by Big X The Plug. That's Tony's jam, but we play it every day when we walk in the office.
Oh, do you? Yeah. Okay, so now I have to ask you this too, because I know you're a big gym guy, right? And I see your content with your headphones on. Is that your gym roll too, or is that something different?
Dude, I'm a weirdo when it comes to the gym. I listen to podcasts in the gym, and so many people are like, "There's no way you can train listening to a podcast," and I'm like, "Bro, I don't care." Like, I
disagree with that. When I'm training, if I have to go in and jump on a treadmill, I'm a podcast guy.
Yeah, for me, I think like I get an hour before my phone comes off Do Not Disturb. And for me, like if I could listen to music or I can learn something, I'm going to just try and learn something that day.
Okay.
And it gives me something, especially like being a leader in the team. Like every time I listen to a podcast or something, I get a piece of information that I'm able to share with everybody on my team.
Right.
So I think if I have the ability to do that every day and like kind of clear my head and be detached, like I like learning something. So I rock out to a podcast.
All right. So I'm not going to ask you to sing a little bit of that walk-up music because that might be a little bit of a stretch for our listeners today. I don't think they want to hear that. I know they don't want to hear me
I don't think
sing.
the production company's that good. They can't make me sound that good.
They can't make us sound good here.
Yeah.
So let's digress, right? Because like I said, it is January. People want to hear, people would love to emulate, I would imagine, what you have done. So I'm going to go all the way back to what was your very first inclination that real estate is what you wanted to do for a living? And how long ago was that?
So I think first thing for me, realizing that real estate was the path I wanted to go down, was I had a mentor early on in life that was very successful. He was flipping Fishtown before like Fishtown was a thing. And he moved to Miami. He was young. And I would go down there a lot and I'd see him. He was, had a nice house, or he actually had like a condo at the time on the beach in Hollandale, had a yacht. And I was just like, dude, like, this is crazy. Like in my opinion at the time, like the people that did that were like rappers and
he
like,
made it, right?
And like football players,
yeah.
and I was like, dude, like, what's the secret? Like, what do I got to do? And he's like, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. Every single time you save $10,000, go and buy a house. So at the time I was like, okay, thanks for the advice, dude. Like, how do I save $10,000? Like I was young, man. I didn't really know. And, but I always had that in the back of my head. Right. So it's funny we're doing this podcast at like this time, because January 2nd, 2018, I signed up for online real estate school. Right. Mm-hmm. And at the time I was working in like a normal job. I was wrapping cars and I did really well. I had like a 6-figure income at the time, low 6 figures, just over $100,000, but still I had good income.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I was young. I was 20 at the time.
Always a hustler then. That's
I was like 20 years old at the time. So I was doing okay and signed up. I didn't know that the course timed out, but I told my then girlfriend, now fiance, I was like, I'm going to do real estate. She's like, okay, cool. Did the course, never finished it. Never did anything. January 2nd, 2019, I was, at the time, I just started like wholesaling real estate. So I was doing like off-market stuff. I was reaching out to my realtor that sold me my house when I turned 21. Hey, can you run comps? Can you run comps? Can you run comps? She was like, just go get your real estate license. Like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't really want my real estate license. Like, why do I want to do that? I like this space. I just want to be an investor. She was like, go get it. So signed up. started in-person school at KW. I did the course again, told my girlfriend, I'm like, I'm going to do it this time. She's like, yeah, whatever. So I did it and I got my license that year, on my birthday. So March 24th, 2019, I got my real estate license. And that was like my first, like, okay, now I'm going to try and do this, but I was just going to do it as an investor. Like I'll sell 2 or 3 houses to people a year and I'll just buy my own deals. So like that was my intro of like what I thought was going to be my real estate career. I had no intentions of like doing what I'm doing now, selling a lot of real estate. I just wanted to invest.
So that's how you got started. Now, so take us to, so you got your real estate like 2019?
2019.
Right? So you got your 2019, which I'm trying to remember. 2019 was probably an okay year.
Yeah, it was like 4.5% rates,
Yeah.
4 or 5.
We'd kill for that right now, right? Well, I take a little bit of that 4.5% money right now. But so then you got your real estate license 2019. Investing was your objective. That was your passion at the time.
Yeah.
So then what led you to go to the next iteration of what you became after that? Because I know it has a lot to do, it's a little bit of a loaded question. I know it has a lot to do with structure and work ethic. Yeah.
So in that time frame, from like 2019 till about 2022, I still had a job. Like I was still working at the wrap shop.
You were quote unquote part-timer, but you're probably working a lot of hours. But
so I would get to work every day at 6 and I would work from like 6 to 3. And then I would get changed at work. And then I would like try and sell real estate from like 3:30, 4 o'clock till like 9 o'clock at night. That was just kind of for years. That's all I did. But I wasn't really focusing on like trying to do deals with people. I was really still like in that investor mindset. So at the time I got some Airbnbs that we like rental arbitraged. I flipped a couple houses. I was buying rental properties. Like I was going through the motions, right? And I was still doing a lot of off-market stuff. And then I kind of took like loss after loss after loss on like a couple big projects. And I was just like really discouraged, right? Like I was like, I'm not getting a hang of this real estate thing. Like I'm not getting a ton of clients. Like I was doing like 20 deals a year, which, some agents said like, that's a decent business, but like it wasn't fulfilling to me. Like I wasn't like, oh wow, this is it. So I just kept kind of going through the motions. And my buddy said to me the one day, we were sitting like across from each other. And I was like, dude, I'm like depressed. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like everything's going wrong. He's like, dude, you're the only person I know that can complain when you literally have a license to print money. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you have a real estate license. Like if you want to make money, you can go make money. And I was just like, whoa, like I never really thought about it like that. So, in October of that year, I decided I'm done. I took a coaching program called Bold. I told the teacher, I'm like, hey, I need a plan. I need to quit my job. I need to do real estate full time. What should I do? He was like, you got to figure out a plan, how much money you got to save, what you got to do. You got to talk to your spouse. You guys got to come up with some kind of structure so that when you leave your job, you're not like floundering, I was like, okay. That was, I think at the time we had a Bold on Thursdays. I remember we went out to dinner, me and my fiance on Friday, figured out, all right, 12 months from now, if we save this amount of money, I can leave my job, right? So Friday came, Saturday, Sunday, went to work Monday, went to work Tuesday, I quit Tuesday.
Okay.
Didn't have any kind of foundation.
So you jumped.
You just
jumped.
I just said, screw it. I called her. I was like, yo, I quit my job. She goes, you did what? She's like, we just mapped out this whole, like we had everything written out. Like it was a whole plan. And I just was like, I don't care. I can't do it. And that following month, I did about $3.5 million in sales.
So that is bold, right? Yeah. And what I get from that is for so many people, I mean, there are a few exceptions, but for most people, losing is a prerequisite to winning, right? You said you had a year, volume-wise, you had a good year in terms of, units, lost on a couple of bigger deals. I mean, those lessons are invaluable.
Yeah.
Like those lessons, they never leave you. Trust me, 40 years in the business, you lose early, you learn early, right? So, and hopefully that'll be the case for you. I'm sure it will. You're bright, you're a genius. So you went from that, you made that leap of faith, right? Regardless of what your buy-in strategy or your long-term plan was, you jumped in. So when you jumped in, then what? Like you had that conversation, you jumped in, you show up the next day. How was life different for you at that point?
Before that, I kind of had like the lifestyle that I wanted, but I didn't have like the income that I really should have to sustain that. So I was just, I would be at the pool every day. I would just be chilling. Like I would still work, but I wasn't working it like a job. So what switched for me is I hired a coach right away. Like as soon as I made that leap, I hired a coach, and I got structure in my life as far as like now I treat it like a job. And you know me, you were in the office all the time. You see, I'm usually there right around 8:30. I'm there all day. I go on my appointments at night. I have a schedule on just like generating business. So like if I don't have anything going on, I'm lead generating. And even when I do have things going on, we have that block of time every day for at least 2 hours that I'm lead generating. My goal every day when I walk in those doors is that I set an appointment. If I don't set an appointment that day, 9 times out of 10, I'm not ready to go home. And if I do go home, I don't feel right. So I end up lead generating again at night. So I have that. It's like a non-negotiable.
So your lead generation, your block time is 2 hours.
2 hours minimum.
I know firsthand from seeing you that when you started your lead generation projects, I know you put in more than 2 hours. Yeah. I'd show up in the morning and you're in that dark room doing lead gen. I'd leave. Sometimes I'd come back at night, teach a class. You'd still be in there, 3 screens doing lead gen and making cold calls.
Yeah.
Not everybody can make cold calls. Some people just don't have the desire, right? It's not easy. So talk a little bit about cold calling and how you feel about that. And if it was something you were opposed to and came to love, how did you come to love it so that maybe some of the people listening can adapt that mentality?
So I obviously, I'm one of the coaches at KW, and I focus on the growth side of things, right? So I probably
But you grew into that.
I did grow into that. So I have a biased opinion on when people say that cold calling is not for everybody. And this isn't a popular opinion, but if you want to win and you want to win at a high level, you have to do things that you don't like. I don't like to cold call. I cold call because it funds my life. I choose to cold call just because I know it's going to get you results. At the end of the day, there's business out there to be had, and the people that are willing to make those calls are going to get that business, right? I want to be one of those people that get that business. I don't thoroughly enjoy it. I have 2 full-time cold callers now that cold call. So I'm kind of getting away from having to cold call cold leads. Now I'm only calling the warmer leads. So it's scalable. It's kind of catered to what you want it to be. So like you don't have to just be the guy that makes 1,000 calls a week. You can be the guy that spends some money from your commissions and get somebody to do that for you, but then you just call the hot leads. At some point in your business, if you want to be great, you're going to have to do it. And that's what I've always learned. So for me, it was like, just do it now and it will get easier. Don't wait until you need to grow and not be able to do it, right? So my old coach was strictly for sale by owners and expired listings, and then circle prospecting last, right? So that's what I got coached on. He was like, if you want to go from here to here, you need to fill in those gaps of business, right? So at the time I was in business for a little bit. So I did get some referrals. I'm kind of popular on social media. I'm consistently posting. People reach out to me. I get some social media leads, but it doesn't keep me doing 5-6+ deals a month,
right?
So I needed to fill them gaps.
So again, I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to understand this process. And you said something there that I believe to be true as well, which is you can't coach or manage a process that you haven't lived in.
Correct.
Right? If you don't understand what's required, right? And if you don't understand the expectations that there's going to be failure, there's going to be wins, there's going to be losses. Sometimes the activity is the win. I like to say that when you're building leads and you're building a lead generation system, not every day is going to be a home run in terms of dollars and cents. Sometimes the activity is the win.
100%.
Right? So once you realize that, then you can scale. You can hire someone. You can help manage their expectations, their daily tasks, their hourly tasks to get the results they want to get. That's, I see people that want to just hire people to do something and outsource it without having put the groundwork in themselves to fully understand and comprehend what's required of them to make those kind of, goals come true.
Yeah.
So, kudos to you for putting in the hard work. So I know you say 2-hour lead generation a day. I happen to know for a fact when I first met you, it was a lot more than that.
It probably still is a lot more than that,
Right.
On my calendar, it's 2 hours, but
Right.
sometimes I'm locked in, and like, I do enjoy it now as a game, right? For me, it's enjoyable to get somebody that said
It's like,
no.
check, one, check, one, win, loss, win, loss. Right.
Yeah, man. It's like, and like, we kind of have like our own little wing in the office. So like there's a bell in there now. Like it's enjoyable, right? Everybody's making their lead generating time. So like if I get a lead, I'm ringing the bell. If Ian gets a lead, he's ringing the bell. Chrissy gets a lead, she's ringing the bell. It's energy. It's
Right.
easy. It's easy to do in an environment like that. Like all my great sales coaches tell me the same thing. Like a big sales business has an amazing bullpen, right? So if you got all them guys in the bullpen making the calls, camaraderie, it's going down, it gets easier and easier. You know what I mean? So like the struggle with real estate and why I'm building a team is because real estate's a lonely business when you're a solo agent.
Right.
You can be lost in the sauce for a long
Well, that
time.
critical mass, I say the same thing about the mortgage business too, is like, everybody's a little more independent now than they used to be. There's no bullpen. There's no critical mass of people that you can bounce things, off of and brainstorm with. I think that's hugely missing. I think in a lot of businesses,
it's coming back.
It's definitely going to come back. So I want to go back to another thing, and I don't want this to be an oversimplification, but the thing with cold calling too, because I've heard you cold call before, is that when you're cold calling, you're not Josh, the realtor. You're just Josh. Your authenticity when you talk to people on the phone, the authenticity, the relatability. It's like I know people that when they get into an environment where they're going to start doing cold calls, they get the radio voice or like, oh, I'm so and so with so and so, and I'm calling to see if I could help you today with. That's not you, right? And I think authenticity and relatability are very, very important factors that people tend to overlook. You can put a lot of time in making cold calls with no transparency and no authenticity and not get the kind of results that
100%.
you got. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, 100%. We have a new guy in the office. He's not on my team right now, but I let him work out of my office every day. I hear him making calls, right? And I tell him the same thing every day. And he's getting better. Like, as he does it, I kind of critique, figure it out. And I know it's not his thing, right? Like, he doesn't want to be doing this. He's choosing to do it. I didn't even tell him, like, I actually told him not to. So I'm like, look, if you want to do it, you're going to do it. But I think you might be better off doing something else in the beginning. But he's still grinding. So I respect it. But enthusiasm sells, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I call you today and I'm like, hey, Gary, how you doing? This is Josh. You're not going to want to talk to me. But if I call you, yo, Gary, what's going on, bro? You don't know me. You're like, who's it? Yo, this is Josh. I work over at KW. I was calling you about 123 Main Street. Just wanted to see, would you guys be open to an offer?
Right.
Right. You're like, wait. Like I'm catching you off guard. So it's a pattern interrupt to make you let your guard down. Right. So when you can do that, it only comes from making 100 calls. But I tell people all the time, they're so nervous they're going to screw up on a call. Right. I'm like, listen, there's 17,000 records just in Levittown alone.
Right.
I'm sorry to tell you, man, you're not going to win all 17,000. So why don't you just go and practice? Because at the end of the day, if that guy says no, you can call him back a year from now. He's not going to remember you because you didn't even make an impact at that point.
So that's a good question because I know it changes. I know it changes based on market conditions. I know it changes on, how comfortable you get, in that business model. But what is your personal expectation for lead generation? If you make X number of calls based on where you are with your experience level, what do you expect the return to be conservatively?
Yeah. So I don't like punch dial. Like typically if I am cold calling, it's on a dialer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for 300 dials, give or take, it's about 25 contacts. From those 25 contacts, I usually set an appointment.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I need
numbers.
2 appointments usually to convert.
Okay.
So I know, all right, if we want to do, 2 or 3 deals that week, like we're trying to be somewhere around 1,000 dials.
Right. So my observation is I saw Josh in that mode, the lead generation mode, and it was Josh doing Josh things, right? Then all of a sudden, this guy named Ian Dixon, great guy, he shows up. And then from that point, you're still doing, your lead generation and all the things that you do. And Ian is like, taking some of those calls, is what I saw, and helping you with that. And then obviously at that point in time too, you got on the leadership council at KW, and then you created a team. Now your sweatshirt says RLM. You want to tell everybody what RLM means?
Yeah. So RLM originally was Real Life Monopoly. When my whole brand started, that was even before I was really like selling real estate like this. It was just my investment side of stuff. And then it became the RLM Group, and then now it's RLM and Company, right? So still Real Life Monopoly. That's still the basis of it. Basically everybody knows what Monopoly is, but we do that in real life. Moving and shaking in the real estate world. Originally, it was the RLM Group, and then when Christina and Tony partnered with me to build the team out, I wanted to make it something that I could recruit winners. And the biggest thing with a winner is a winner doesn't want to work under someone's last name.
Right.
So at the end of the day, like I really look up to like Jim Roche. I look up to Chris, all them guys, and they're all doing a similar thing, right? Where to get people to work under a brand, I want it to be something that I could leave one day and it doesn't have to change. It stays the same thing, and it's something that, is just a brand. It's a household name like Nike. So that was my like thought process behind it, and I've embodied that, and everybody that works with us has embodied that. And I tell them the same thing. Look, you're still Gary, right? Your branding is still you. It's still you as a person. I don't ever want to take your shine away, because I want you to be a winner by yourself.
Right.
And that's important. And I think that's like now, like I don't have to hunt talent. Like talent finds me.
Right.
Because they see what we're doing and they want to be a part of it, So that's.
So I have to throw this out. I have an RLM t-shirt, but I do not, which you've seen me wear it, but I do not have an RLM sweatshirt. I'm just throwing that out there for, I'm just going to leave that out there for a little bit. And
it's on record now.
And I will, I'll promote the swag,
Yeah.
So tell me, you built your foundation on lead generation. You worked it hard. You found success. You added a person in Ian. And then at some point you decided to create a team. What was the trigger for you? What was the light that said, okay, now I'm ready? And or what's my next process for scaling RLM?
I think the biggest thing was I had a VA, right? So I had a virtual assistant. I think I want to say somewhere around 9 or 12 deals under contract at once, and everything went wrong. The VA screwed everything up, sent a termination to one of my clients before I called my client.
That's not good.
They sent a deed package to a buyer. For those that don't know what that means, they sent the seller docs to a buyer to fill out. It was just like one thing after another. And I was like, all right, everything's going to burn down around me. Like that's where we're at. Like I'm done. Like, it's over. And I was like, I need to hire an assistant. At this time, I was working with Heather full time. Like Heather was my coach.
Right.
Like, she was guiding me at this point. And she was like, you need a full-time admin. And I was like, oh man, that's a lot of money. Like I was looking at the salary. I'm like, I don't know. Like, and at the time I didn't really put a really big circle around what's this worth to me, not what it's costing me. Right. And that was the mistake that I was making, because I was trying to be cheap. So Christina and Tony also had a VA, and they were going through the same kind of struggle. And I always joked with them. We've been friends for a while now. Chrissy actually gave me my first commission check ever when I got in the business. So like we've known each other for a long time. And I was like, yo, what if we just started this mega team? And they would always be like, yeah, Josh, no. So I said it again. I was like, yo, what if we just start this mega team? We'll split Emily. She'll be our admin. And we just see what we can do. We don't have to grow really big right now. Let's just partner and we'll figure out everything else. And they're like, let me think about it. So I kind of like thought about it. I'm like, is this going to be something that I can go really big? Right. And they came back and they were like, yeah, let's do it. So I talked to Emily. I got her to quit her job, come work for us.
Which was a major coup, by the way. Emily does a great job, but she was ready.
she is the person that most people wish they could have in their business.
Yeah.
We always joke about it. Like, it's really like Emily's like the fourth partner. Like, from the level of service she brings to our clients to the things she does for me to make my business run smoothly. And she's like, I don't know how to like phrase it, but like, she's very good at adapting to the person to make sure she's doing her best job.
Oh, she's
right?
definitely a people
So
person.
like for me, I'm not as like back end as Chrissy is. Like for me, she's really just like deals. Like that's all, like she does all my stuff for me. Like I don't have to think about anything. I just print money, right? So I go headhunt, I find business. She makes sure everything's running smooth, right? For Christina, she's doing a lot of like putting her contacts into command. She's doing follow-up. She's scheduling showings. So it's two different jobs, right? That she does for me and Christina, but she doesn't skip a beat, right? So when she goes from her to me, it's all the same thing. So it's really impressive of how she operates like that. But in the same time, like she's still a rock star agent.
Yeah.
You know, she like closed like 20 deals this year herself. So like while running my business and Christina's business. So that's why the other admin came into play now because of that. But I think that was my big step, was like being willing to like make that leap, commit to that monetary, you know, what we're paying her a month. And realizing like this isn't a cost to me, it's an investment.
Right.
And in turn, like I hired her and I over doubled my business again last year. So like she was well worth, you know, what she gets paid.
Yeah. I have two asides to that. And I'll go back to 10, 12 years ago. I was managing a large group of loan officers. I had like 18 or 20 loan officers in a region. And there was one guy that was a great loan officer, but he was admittedly, you know, for him too, he was a front end guy, a lot of contacts, you know, had the ability to do a lot of business, but his loan files, when they came into processing, were an absolute train wreck.
Yeah.
And I said to him, you know, we have to find an assistant for you. And he's like, I can't afford that. I'm like, you can't afford not to do that, right? You'll triple your production once you get to the point where, you know, you can let go and delegate.
100%.
Right. And so that's my next point to that, is that, you know, it takes a special person to be able to understand not just that they need to build an organization and some structure to it, but to actually let go of the detail. So many people have a problem letting go of the detail, right? And I kind of learned that from a mentor, you know, a long time ago too. And he said, you have to recognize that everybody has a skill set, right? Play to your strength, delegate your weaknesses. And I don't mean delegate in a derogatory sense. I just mean recognize what, you know, if someone does a certain task better than you, let them have it.
100%.
Right? Let them have it. Let them do what they do best. They're going to be happier for it, and so will you. And, you know, you're going to create an atmosphere where productivity naturally rises.
Yeah.
Right?
So I've watched people emulate that to the furthest degree inside of our team. And it like makes me proud, right? Like understanding like, hey, that's not my thing. And just being willing to let someone else do it is huge, right? And nobody's greedy. Like Emily came to me recently and she was like, hey, I got this guy, he wants to sell multifamily. I don't know if I can take down this listing myself. Will you come with me and we'll just split it? Like I want you to do the listing appointment. I was like, yeah, like let's do it. We went, took it down, got the listing signed, did all that stuff. But as soon as that paperwork was signed, she did everything else.
Right.
She, you know, she marketed the property. She helped get it sold, helped a little bit on one of the negotiations, but like, you know, and it was a smooth process. But instead of getting zero, we both got paid. Right. So being willing to own it, right? Too, like when, hey, I might not be the best guy for this job. And like, I had a listing I've been working on for a while. This lady's been a trip, new construction deal. We went on the listing. I actually went once and she called me back and was like talking to me, trying to chop me. And I'm like, I'm not, you know, I know you have another agent right now that's going to do it for nothing. I actually know them. And I was like, look, go with them.
Hey, there's always someone willing to work cheaper. Right?
I was like, go with them. It's all good. Go with them. She's like, what do you mean? You don't want to work with me? I was like, I don't. I'm good.
Well, you know,
so
people that are hell bent to get the lowest cost provider, sometimes they get what they deserve.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's funny. She ends up calling me back and we talked and I was like, listen, I think I need to bring my partners with me and we need to have a conversation. So I went out with Christina and Tony and it was the game changer, right? Like she's gonna work with us now. She's, still a little stubborn, but whatever. We're doing a bunch of business with her now. And it was being willing to admit, like, maybe I'm not the best guy to relate to this lady. And like somehow Tony has this charm with old women. It must be the Italian in him. I don't know what it is, man, but he always just hits it off.
I can see that. Very personable.
Oh, dude.
Very personable
He's
guy.
the best person in the world. But yeah, so I knew, and like I think that's huge. Is like being able to understand your weaknesses
I
is
think
a
he's a Giants
superpower.
fan, but I mean, you can't be everything. Right?
I didn't say he was super smart. He's the greatest guy in the world.
No, he's a great guy.
But yeah, no, I think that that was a big learning curve for me. Is like being willing to take a piece instead of the whole thing to go really far.
And you know what? And again, like you cannot build a productive sales ecosystem with a closed fist.
Impossible.
It's got to be like that. Right? Everybody has to win. And you're in an organization that promotes win-win, right? So, I mean, it just fits with the culture that you're already in. So I'm sure you learned that through your learning process at Keller Williams, which I've always been a huge fan of, by the way.
Yeah. It's an impressive organization.
Absolutely.
And
the teaching, the training, the things that I see that not only have you understand that, but you have grasped it, taking control of it, and you're doing a lot of teaching and training.
Yeah.
So, and it's great to see that. I mean, teaching is another way of learning.
It is. And I think it helps me not slack, right? Because like, who am I to be this guy that is coaching, hundreds of agents and my business falls off?
Right.
Are you really that good?
When you put yourself out there like that, you're a marked man, right?
Yeah.
You have to practice what you preach, and people want to read your results to measure, the words that you've put out there, right?
I don't know if it's a flaw of mine or, whatever, but before I go and go to a class or a training, like I look the person up, right? Like if I'm going to spend 4 or 5 hours of my time and money, you got to be doing more than me, right? And there's people that I've seen teaching and I'm looking them up and I'm like, how did you get here? You know what I mean? Like if I ever got to the point where I was like full-time teaching, my business is going to run,
right?
Period. Because that's where I make my real money. I'm not trying to make money off coaching people. I like making money selling houses. You know what I mean? So like I look at stuff like that and I'm like, who vetted this guy? Like that's important to me. I don't like, I don't like that side of things. It's a weird world.
So now you have how many people on your team? 5?
So we have 9 agents and I have
missed a few.
1 full-time assistant.
Okay. So that brings me to, thanks for that information. I think, that's good information on, how to start from where you started to where you got to and the steps and the mentality that's required to do that. What's in store for Josh and the RLM team for 2025? Like what's your plan? And I know you spend a lot of time planning. I don't expect you to divulge your whole business model for people, but like what's your prediction? What's your personal plan and what's your overview for 2025? Where are we headed in the real estate market?
So for the team, basically this year we just did just under 50 million. Mm-hmm. And that we didn't have 9 at that time. We kind of got there towards the end of the year.
I'll have to check my records, but I don't think I got very much of that business, by the way. We can revisit that.
So we're trying to be somewhere around 75 million end of the year. Looks like 215 units on paper.
Right.
So that's the plan. That's kind of where we're focused right now. I think at that point, there's going to be a lot of changes that come towards the end of the year if we can hit those numbers. Mm-hmm. I already think we're on pace to do it. So, that's incredible. And that's thanks to, a lot of generating business that comes back to us, a lot of rehabs coming up, a lot of new constructions coming up. So that's my main focus. Back end wise is getting really, really structured, right? So we have a lot of events coming up this year. We raised a lot of money in sponsorship to be able to, put on a lot of impressive events. We're taking 150 people to the Phillies game. We've rented out, trampoline park for all the kids to come. That's like almost 200 people. Doing a private party for all of our VIP clients in February at Midnight Pasta. I don't know if you've seen that yet. It's a cool spot. So we're starting to focus more on like recurring revenue, right? So building a system that we bring those referrals in. Right now we have, outside leads. We have some lead aggregators that bring stuff in, cold callers, things like that. But eventually, over the next 2 to 3 years, I would love to not have to do any of that. I would love to just be events-based, client referrals, client interactions to generate the business. So we're really focused on that and doing a lot to, keep our clients close, let them know we care about them, kind of building that system that, lower your cost of doing business by raising the quality of business we're doing.
I love that answer. You know what I love most about that answer? And most people wouldn't do this. You gave a response to that question without saying, well, if interest rates go to, I mean, you're determined to build your business, to scale your business, regardless of things that you can't control. And that's a beautiful thing. That's what I'm hearing. You don't hear that often enough. That, I'm going to manage my output by managing the level of service. I can't tell you how many people that I ask, and I ask that question a lot to people.
Yeah.
What are you anticipating for 2025? And almost every time they start with, well, if interest rates, so immediately they're taking
The cop out.
their ability to scale and laying it off on circumstances by which they have no control over.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about this all the time, man. People had the worst year of their business ever last year. I continue to triple my business every year for the last 3 years.
Right.
I don't look at any of that stuff as far as like, I don't get consumed with it, right? People get very stressed out about who's going to be in office. What are interest rates going to look like? What is NAR doing? What is this? What is that? The people that focus on those things are never going to get to where they want to go. I focus on myself. I don't look at who's next to me. I look at, some of the guys that are doing more than me as inspiration. They're not my competition. I'm focused on me,
Right.
But I never forget that there is people trying to take my spot every day.
Right.
So I continue to show up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
Well,
like,
hey, look, persistence is highly underrated. I mean,
it is.
Things just don't happen. You have to be persistent in your actions to get the kind of results that you need to get.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, like I post about it all the time. Like, I don't do anything special, man. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy that knows how to work. And I've learned that being consistent creates you being good, right? So I went from being okay, I went to being good. I consider myself pretty great when it comes to sales. But at the end of the day, I'm just consistent.
Yeah.
If you're the best guy in the world, but you show up 2 days a week and I'm okay and I show up 7, I'm going to beat
win.
you.
Yeah.
It's
like I said, the activity sometimes has to be the win for
100%.
future things.
And, shout to Miranda on my team. She posted in our chat last night. She went on a listing appointment. They used a different agent when they bought, I think 2 years ago. And they said the reason they called her was because they seen how much she posts on social media.
Right.
That's it. She's
So
consistent.
let's give props to your team. Give a shout out. Let's hear the names on your team.
So, obviously we have Christina and Tony. They're, their mom and dad. They make sure everything goes smooth. Like, I'm like the fun uncle,
Right.
They're
Christina and Tony who? Let's give them full shout outs.
Christina Krajcek and Tony Krajcek. Okay. They're literally the heart and soul of RLM. I love them. I couldn't do this without them. And then obviously you have Emily Rubin. She's probably one of the best agents I've ever worked with, on top of her being an admin. She literally next level. You have Ian Dixon. We talked about him. He's been my partner on stuff for years. Super grateful to have him on the team. You have Linda Shook. She's actually my aunt. She's been building her business. She's crushing it this year. She's taken off. She just signed like 6 deals this week. Then you have Miranda Aspo. Again, I just shouted her out for, listing she just took down. She's going crazy. You have Michael Olakowski, who we just brought on. He's like really in Manayunk area. He's a newer agent, but dude's a workhorse. We call him Mike the Shark, because he's just out there getting it. And then also one of my personal friends, he's actually one of my clients as well, but he has his license and he helps a lot of his friends and families. Amazing networker, Michael Ho. So he's one of my builder clients. He does a lot of business, but he's also, phenomenal agent. He brings a lot to the table. And then we just brought Jenna on. Jenna Wright. She's our new admin. I think she's going to end up getting her license as well. But you know, we'll see what road she takes, but she's doing an awesome job. She's getting trained personally by Emily, so she's bound to be great, you know?
Well, it sounds too like, and I can appreciate this, it doesn't sound to me like, based on what you're telling me your goals are for 2025, you're not saying, well, we have to add 3 people a quarter. You're like, you go where the market takes you. You find the right person. If they're a fit for your team, then you embrace them and you bring them in. It sounds like that's how you're building.
So there's a lot to be said with that, right? So we based our goals off of before we brought Michael Olikowski on. And my thing is, I really wanted to add 5 people to the team by the end of this coming year, right? But that's the only goal I wouldn't mind not hitting if it came down to it. Because at the end of the day, I'm never going to bring somebody into my team that affects my team. If there's somebody on my team that comes to me and says, hey, that new guy's just not it, he's not a fit, whatever, you got to remember, all these people have been on my team already. They're family. They all interact every day, and none of them are giving me a problem. So if I bring one person in and now there's a problem, who's the problem? Right? So I'm never going to sacrifice their workplace. I'm never going to sacrifice their culture just to grow. It's not worth it.
So you guys service Pennsylvania, and you have New Jersey licensees in there as well, right? And county-wise, you're like all counties, or do you have any specific?
So Bucks, Montco, Delco. I'll do all of Jersey, basically all the way down to the shore, everywhere in the city, Manayunk, Roxborough, pretty much all over. And we'll do up the mountains too, but like, I'm never ashamed. Like if you came to me and you want to buy something and I'm not the best guy for the job in that area, like I'll put someone in touch with you that's the best guy for the job. But I don't want my lack of knowledge for that neighborhood to sacrifice your experience.
Right. So if a realtor were to watch or listen to this on Spotify, or a buyer or seller watches or hears this on Spotify, what's the best way to get in touch with you and say, hey, look, I get what Josh is saying, I want to be part of that? What's the best way to reach you?
So the best way to reach me is definitely Instagram. It's Josh Sold the House. Or hit me up on the RLM page. It's RLM_co. Emily runs that. So, you get in touch with her, but she'd set something up. I'm really big on social. So, Instagram is probably the best way.
Okay. That's awesome. We covered a lot of material today, which I think is going to be hugely beneficial for people that want to get the right steps, the right ecosystem in place for 2025, whether they're starting brand new, right? And they hear how you started and what you built, or if they're somewhere in the middle and they want to go to the next level. I think you provided a lot of information for people to, incorporate for 2025 and make some solid progress in their own right. And we appreciate you for coming.
I appreciate you having me on. It's an honor, man. And I think at the end of the day, anybody looking to scale, the most important thing I'm ever going to tell anybody is don't scale too fast. Just take it slow. Things are going to happen for you when they're going to happen for you. As long as you keep putting the work in, you'll know when it's time to get bigger. But you don't ever want to hire out of pain. So always be, looking ahead and figuring out where I need to be to get to where I want to go.
That's great. That's great. So my next step personally is to make sure I get one of those sweatshirts.
Yeah, my family don't even have these yet.
And that cigar you promised me a couple of weeks ago, I want to get that cigar too. So.
Yeah, let me know when you want to come out.
Sounds like a plan. Josh, thanks so much for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate you.